Hello and welcome to Election Night 2024. We have the Republican nominee, Vice President Mike Pence, with his running mate, former Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, against the Democratic nominee, the 2020 running mate to former Vice President Joe Biden, and Senator of California, Kamala Harris, with her running mate, Wisconsin Governor Mandela Barnes. It is now 7 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Georgia, currently too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the state. Indiana, it's 11 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Kentucky, and it's 8 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. South Carolina, there are 9 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Vermont, and there are 3 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Virginia, and there are 13 electoral votes, currently too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. Here's the current electoral map. Vice President Pence leads 28-3. Indiana, brother of Vice President Mike Pence, Greg Pence, has won the Indiana governor race. He will become the next governor of Indiana. Attorney General T.J. Donovan has won the Vermont governor race. He will be the next Vermont governor come 2025. The Indiana Senate race, Mike Braun has won re-election. Virginia Senate race, Tim Kaine has won re-election. He had a failed 2024 run and decided to run for re-election at the end of the day. It is now time for the 7:30 p.m. poll closings. Ohio, and their 17 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. North Carolina, and their 16 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. West Virginia, and their 4 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Georgia, and their 16 electoral votes still too close to call. Mike Pence now leads in the state. We now have a call to the state of Virginia. Virginia, and their 13 electoral votes now projected to go to Kamala Harris. Here's the current electoral map. Vice President Mike Pence has a lead of 32-16. The West Virginia governor race, Secretary of State Mac Warner has won in the West Virginia governor race, We now have a call to the Vermont Senate. Phil Scott appointed the incumbent Senator David Zuckerman when Bernie Sanders passed away, and his voting was not, I guess you could say, up to align to the progressive stature as many had hoped, and Phil Scott had thrown his hat into the ring to unseat the incumbent, and he has successfully done so. Phil Scott will become Vermont's first Republican senator in, well, quite a while. It is now time for the 8 p.m. poll closings. Alabama, and their 8 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Connecticut, and their 7 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Delaware, and their 3 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Washington, D.C., and their 3 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Florida, and their 31 electoral votes too close to call. Mike Pence has a lead in the race. Illinois, and their 19 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Maine at large, and their 2 electoral votes too close to call. Kamala Harris has a lead in the race. However, Maine's 1st district projected to go to Kamala Harris, and the 2nd district projected to go to Mike Pence. Maryland, and their 10 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Massachusetts, and their 11 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Mississippi, and their 6 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Missouri, and their 10 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. New Hampshire, and their 4 electoral votes too close to call. This is a state Donald Trump narrowly won. He won it by roughly 5,000 to 6,000 votes. But Kamala Harris currently leads in the race. New Jersey, and their 14 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. This is one of the states that Republicans hope to get close, but it looks like Kamala Harris has won it by 12 to 13, maybe even 14 percentage points at the end of the day. Oklahoma, and their 7 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Pennsylvania, and their 19 electoral votes is too close to call. However, Kamala Harris does lead in the state. Rhode Island and other states Republicans hope to get under 10, but it looks like Kamala Harris has won it by looks like 10 to 11 percentage points. Rhode Island, and their 3 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. Tennessee, and their 11 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Ohio, and their 17 electoral votes still too close to call. Mike Pence leads in the race. North Carolina, and their 16 electoral votes, Mike Pence now leads in the state. Georgia and their 16 electoral votes. Mike Pence is now a lead in the race. Here's the current map. Senator Harris leads 87 to 69. We now have a call of the Delaware governor race. The son of late former vice president and 2020 nominee Joe Biden, the son of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, has won the Delaware governor race. Governor John Carney was term limited, and Hunter Biden thrown his hat in the ring. And it looks like he has won the Delaware governor race. Republicans hope this race could get closer, nominating Lauren Witzke, who made the Delaware Senate race a lot closer than what people expected. But it looks like Hunter Biden has won by a pretty substantial margin in the Delaware governor race. New Hampshire governor race. Governor Chris Sununu, a very popular governor, for years now, has won re-election in the New Hampshire governor race, winning his 5th or 6th term, it seems. Connecticut Senate race. Chris Murphy has won re-election in this race. The Delaware Senate race. John Carney has won. Tom Carper did say he was going to retire in 2024, and John Carney threw his hat in the ring and has soundly won this election. He will now go to the United States Senate January 21st, 2025. The Maryland Senate race of Ben Cardin will go on. A lot of Republicans hope to flip the seat like Larry Hogan did in the 2022 midterms, but it looks like it could not be done. Ben Cardin has won re-election to the Senate. The Mississippi Senate race, Roger Wicker has won re-election. Another state that Democrats hope to get close in, but it looks like Roger Wicker has won re-election over 10. Missouri Senate race, another state where Democrats are trying to get under 10, or win the state. Hoping that Hawley's win in 2018 was a fluke, but it looks like Hawley has won by a big margin in 2024. New Jersey, Bob Menendez. This was a race that Republicans nominated Governor Jeff Van Drew for, but he couldn't get it done, and Bob Menendez has won this race. I think by 9 to 11 percentage points, but Bob Menendez has won re-election to the New Jersey Senate. The Rhode Island Senate, the man with the greatest name ever, Sheldon Whitehouse, has won re-election. Tennessee Senate race, Marsha Blackburn has won re-election. It is now time for the 8:30 p.m. poll closings. Arkansas and their 6 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Ohio, we now have a call to the state of Ohio. Ohio and their 17 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. This is the state's Democrats were targeting, as it is the bellwether of the country. It looks like Mike Pence has won Ohio in their 17 electoral votes by a pretty substantial margin. He's won by at least 4 to 6 percentage points. It has trended to the left of the country since 2020, but it looks like Mike Pence does hold on to the state of Ohio. Florida, however, still too close to call. It has swung to the Kamala Harris column. Kamala Harris now leads in the state of Florida. Maine at large, still too close to call. Kamala Harris still leads in this race. New Hampshire and their 4 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the state still. Pennsylvania, their 19 electoral votes, it has swung to Mike Pence's column. Mike Pence has narrowed the gap, and it is now in his column. North Carolina and their 16 electoral votes, too close to call. Is staying with Mike Pence. He is even furthering the gap, though not by much. Georgia and their 16 electoral votes, it is swung back to the Kamala Harris column. It is swung back to Kamala Harris. Here is the current electoral map. Vice President Mike Pence leads at 92 to 87. Out of the North Carolina governor race, Attorney General Josh Stein has won in North Carolina's governor race. A bunch of Republicans from North Carolina hope they could flip this seat, but it looks like they couldn't do it. Democrats nominated a very popular Attorney General in Josh Stein, and he is able to win this election. Out of the Massachusetts Senate race, a lot of people were arguing about whether Elizabeth Warren could win re-election against a very popular governor who has a higher approval rating than her. But it looks like Charlie Baker has soundly defeated Elizabeth Warren. Of course, he didn't win over 10, but Charlie Baker has flipped a Massachusetts Senate seat. Hasn't done this since I think 2013, 2014, 2012. But Charlie Baker has flipped a Massachusetts Senate seat to the Republican column. Ohio Senate race, Sherrod Brown. However, Mike Pence did win Ohio. It looks like Sherrod Brown will keep his Senate seat. Despite that, Sherrod Brown has narrowly won re-election. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of the Arizona race, Arizona and their 12 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. This state Joe Biden nearly won in 2020. Colorado and their 10 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the state. Kansas and their 6 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. A lot of Democrats were hoping this state would get closer in 2024, but it looks like Mike Pence has soundly won it by 13 to 15 percentage points. Louisiana and their 8 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. Michigan and their 15 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. Minnesota and their 9 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris does lead in this race. This is a state Donald Trump tried to flip in 2020, and Mike Pence tried to follow in that footsteps and try to flip the state. But so far, it doesn't seem like it's so. But of course, it could swing into his column later in the night, however. Nebraska, 4 out of their 5 electoral votes are projected to go to Mike Pence. The 2nd district, however, is too close to call. Mike Pence does lead in the district, however. New Mexico and their 5 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris does lead in the state. New York and their 27 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. North Dakota and South Dakota, both projected to go to Mike Pence. Texas and their 41 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris narrowly leads in this race. Wisconsin, this is the home state of Kamala Harris's running mate, Mandela Barnes. Wisconsin and their 10 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris has a lead in the race. Wyoming and their 3 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. We have a call out of the state of Maine at large. Maine at large and their 2 electoral votes goes to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has kept the state at Maine large. A lot of Republicans were targeting this state as they did back in 2020. But it looks like Kamala Harris has kept the state of Maine at large, albeit narrowly, a lot narrower than what Joe Biden wanted in 2020. It could be a state that Democrats need to hope stays at them come 2028. We have a call out of the state of North Carolina. North Carolina and their 16 electoral votes are projected to go to Mike Pence. Even though Josh Stein, we did project earlier that he had won the governor race, it looks like the presidential race will do the opposite effect, and Mike Pence will keep North Carolina in his column, a state Kamala Harris targeted many times. Over the past 3 months, she has gone there 4 times, which is crazy, but Mike Pence has won the state of North Carolina. We have a call from Georgia. Georgia and their 16 electoral votes are projected to Mike Pence. This state is a lot closer than what a lot of people gave it credit for. The state Kamala Harris has targeted. She has targeted a lot of states in the South, but a lot of Republican strongholds, and it looks like that did not pay off, and Mike Pence has won the state of Georgia. Florida and their 31 electoral votes. This state has swung back into the Kamala Harris column. This state seems like it's going to be swinging back and forth from Harris to Pence all night. We can only assume right now. New Hampshire and their 4 electoral votes, too close to call. Looks like Mike Pence has swung the state over to his column as of now. Mike Pence leads roughly 600 to 700 votes. He is narrowly in the lead. This is a state Donald Trump did win, however, in 2020. Could Mike Pence keep the state in his column? Pennsylvania and their 19 electoral votes, too close to call. It is swung back into Kamala Harris's column. Kamala Harris has a lead in Pennsylvania again. Here's the current electoral map. Vice President Mike Pence leads 151 to 116. We have a call to the North Dakota governor race. Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford has won. He will be North Carolina's next governor, or North Dakota's next governor, excuse me. We have a call to the Minnesota Senate race. Amy Klobuchar has been re-elected to the Senate. A call out of the Nebraska Senate race. Deb Fischer chose to retire in 2024, and Don Bacon, the congressman from Nebraska's 2nd district, won the primary and has won this election. Out of the New Mexico Senate race, Senator Martin Heinrich has won re-election to the Senate. The New York Senate race, after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announced her bid for the Senate race, it made a lot of other progressives who did not back her and back Gillibrand sweat, as she had a much bigger following. She unseated Kirsten Gillibrand in the primary and has won the state by a big margin. She will go to the Senate in 2025. North Dakota Senate race, Kevin Cramer has won re-election to the Senate. Pennsylvania Senate, Bob Casey Jr., a state Republicans targeted, but it looks like Casey has won a re-election to the Senate. Out of the Wyoming Senate race, John Barrasso has won re-election. It is now 10 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Iowa is projected to go to Mike Pence. Iowa and their 6 electoral votes are projected to go to Mike Pence. Mike Pence has won it by 10 to 13 percentage points. He has also won Montana and their 4 electoral votes. Montana is projected to go to Mike Pence. Nevada and their 6 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris does lead in this race. However, it is a state Mike Pence has targeted, as Joe Biden narrowly won the state back in 2020. Utah and their 6 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence. We now have a call out of the state of Colorado. Colorado and their 10 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. This is a flip from 2020, ladies and gentlemen. New Hampshire and their 4 electoral votes has flipped blue. Kamala Harris has won the state of New Hampshire. This state Mike Pence was hoping he could win, hoping that Kristen and his endorsement would help him. But it looks like he was not popular enough to turn out as many voters as Trump did, and Kamala Harris has won the state of New Hampshire. Arizona and their 12 electoral votes, too close to call. This state is still in Kamala Harris' column, but she is furthering the gap. Michigan and their 15 electoral votes, the state has swung to Mike Pence's column yet again. Mike Pence now leads by roughly 1,150 votes. Minnesota and their 9 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris still leads in this race, though the gap is not widening. It's kind of getting smaller, it seems like. Nebraska's 2nd District, too close to call. Mike Pence still leads in this race. New Mexico and their 5 electoral votes, still too close to call. Kamala Harris leads in the race. Texas and their 41 electoral votes, still too close to call. Mike Pence is now a lead in the race. Wisconsin and their 10 electoral votes, Kamala Harris still leads in this race. Again, this is the home state of her running mate. Florida and their 31 electoral votes, too close to call. Kamala Harris leads. Pennsylvania, their 19 electoral votes. Mike Pence now has a lead in the race. Yet again, it has swung back to Mike Pence's column. Here's the current electoral map. Vice President Pence leads 173 to 130. There are a bunch of states he could win to get the nomination. Essentially what I'm hearing right now is that if he does not win Texas and Florida, he cannot win this election. He needs both Texas and Florida, 2 big states. And some people are also saying he needs to win all 3 Rust Belt states to win. A lot of people are saying Harris needs to win at least 1 Rust Belt state, needs to win Florida, needs to win Nevada, needs to win Arizona, needs to win Minnesota. There are a bunch of states that Harris needs to win, though a lot can happen. Nebraska's 2nd could flip, but however, Minnesota could flip. Anything could happen tonight. Hell, Texas could flip, but that's probably not going to happen. We have a call out the Utah governor race. Spencer Cox has won a re-election as Utah's governor. We have a call out the Arizona Senate race. Kyrsten Sinema has won re-election to the Senate. Debbie Stabenow has been re-elected to the Senate. We have a call out the Texas Senate race. Ted Cruz has won, being re-elected to the Senate. We have a call out of the Utah Senate race. Mitt Romney has won. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. California, this is Kamala Harris's home state. She has won California and their 55 electoral votes. She has also won Hawaii's 4 electoral votes. However, Mike Pence has won Idaho in their 4 electoral votes. Harris has won Oregon by roughly 8 percentage points. And funny, there's also 8 electoral votes. She has won Washington in their 12 electoral votes. We have a call to the state of Arizona. Arizona has trended blue this election cycle. Kamala Harris has won it by 1 to 2 percentage points. Kamala Harris has won 12 electoral votes. We have a call to the state of Minnesota. Minnesota has trended red. Kamala Harris has won by less than 1%. This is a very close state, however. Minnesota and their 9 electoral votes has narrowly gone to Kamala Harris. Nebraska's 2nd, we can call to go to Mike Pence. Mike Pence has kept Nebraska's 2nd into the Republican column. Vice President Mike Pence has flipped the state of Nevada. This is a state that a lot of people said Harris needed, but it looks like Harris still has a chance to win this election. Nevada and their 6 electoral votes go to Mike Pence. We have a call to the state of New Mexico. New Mexico and their 5 electoral votes projected to go to Kamala Harris. We have a call out of the state of Texas. Texas and their 41 electoral votes projected to go to Mike Pence, a state that was a lot closer than what people expected. Michigan, however, still too close to call. Mike Pence leads in the race still. Wisconsin, their 10 electoral votes. Kamala Harris now has a lead. The lead is now a smaller lead. Florida in their 31 electoral votes. Mike Pence leads in the race, albeit narrowly. Pennsylvania in their 19 electoral votes, still too close to call. Mike Pence leads in the race. Here's the current map. Kamala Harris leads 235 to 225. Now here's some certain scenarios we could see coming into the final hour. Alaska will go to Mike Pence. That's a lot of polling shows that is going to Pence, so we can say 228 to 235. As of right now, we can give Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida, we can give all that to Mike Pence, and he would win the election based off the polling. If the polling still stands as of right now, what we have right now currently, we would give Kamala Harris Wisconsin, we would give Mike Pence Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida if the polling holds, and Mike Pence would win. However, anything can happen right now. Pennsylvania could swing back to Kamala Harris. Wisconsin could swing into Mike Pence's column for the first time. Anything can happen. We have a call of the Montana governor race. Mike Cooney has won re-election as Montana's governor. Out of the California Senate race, Gavin Newsom has defeated Dianne Feinstein. He was a very popular governor in the state of California. He unsuccessfully ran for president, coming in third in the delegate count, and dropped out and decided to run for Senate. Out of the Hawaii Senate race, Mazi Hirono has won re-election. Out of the Montana Senate race, this is a flip from 2018. Congressman from Montana's 2nd, Greg Gianforte, has won defeating John Tester. He lost again. He lost 4 years ago to Mike Cooney in the governor race, and 4 years later he has won a Senate bid against John Tester. Could you believe that? Nobody could call that. Out of the state of Nevada, Jackie Rosen has won re-election to the Senate. Out of Washington, Mariah Cantwell has won re-election to the Senate, the woman who looks like Black Widow. Out of the Wisconsin Senate race, Tammy Baldwin has won re-election to the Senate. It is now 1 a.m. and the following states have poll closings. As no one's surprised, Alaska and their 3 electoral votes are projected to go to Mike Pence. Mike Pence has won Alaska and their 3 electoral votes. This is a ginormous flip, ladies and gentlemen. Florida and their 31 electoral votes have flipped from 2020. Donald Trump narrowly won the state, and Kamala Harris has seemed to have trended to the left, although she has won it by a lesser margin than President Trump did back in 2020. She's won it, yes, a smaller margin, but we can now call Florida to go to Kamala Harris. 100% of precincts are reporting, and Kamala Harris has won in the state of Florida. However, this is a big call as well. Michigan, their 15 electoral votes are projected to go to Mike Pence. Mike Pence has won Michigan in their 15 electoral votes. We can now call that Pennsylvania and their 19 electoral votes will go to Mike Pence. Now, it looks like the state of Wisconsin will determine this election. Whoever wins the state of Wisconsin, they will become the 46th president of the United States. It is 2:45 in the morning, and we are expecting some sort of update on the state of Wisconsin around 3 o'clock. It is now 5:25 in the morning, ladies and gentlemen, very early in the morning, and we can now make a call. Wisconsin, the closest state in this entire race, Kamala Harris's running mate's home state, Governor Mandela Barnes. Wisconsin, their 10 electoral votes have flipped blue. Kamala Harris has won the state of Wisconsin. Sorry it took such a long time to call this state, but looks like Kamala Harris has won the state of Wisconsin, which also gives her the presidency. President-elect Kamala Harris will be sworn into office January 21st, 2025. Now let's take a look at the final electoral map. If Wisconsin would have gone blue, we would have seen a 272 to 266 win for Mike Pence. But Wisconsin has gone blue. We now see, look, this is the map we're going to be that is going to be etched into history, ladies and gentlemen. A very odd map, I know, but Kamala Harris has won. We will have the first woman as president. We have 2 groundbreaking announcements, actually. Kamala Harris will be the first woman as president, and Mandela Barnes will be the first black vice president. That is historic right there. We have some Senate calls, however. Out of the Florida Senate race, Wayne Massam has narrowly defeated incumbent Rick Scott. I think whoever would have won Florida would have won the state of, would have helped the Senate candidates down ballot. Kamala Harris won Florida, which in turn gave the Senate to the Democrats. Florida has gone to Wayne Massom. Out of the state of Maine, Paul LePage has narrowly defeated Jared Golden. He has flipped the Senate seat. Maine now has 2 Republican senators. Paul LePage is now Senator Paul LePage. And that will be the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Caddick One saying peace.